Okay. This is going to do this one too. Match it is going to do this. Okay. This is going to do this one too. Match it is going to do this. Okay. Okay. This is going to do this one too. Okay. There shouldn't be any problem. Okay. So let's start. Okay, good morning guys. Now it's 1 in the afternoon. It's okay, let's just start. This will be part 1 of the revision videos per se. So this will be me trying to talk about different topics where you guys are able to revise on a certain part of the syllabus. Okay, so let's just do that. Okay. So today, what I would like to talk about is the money chapters, because I think some of you are not very familiar with it. So I think it will be better if this video exists. I will see whether I'll need to do this for all of the other things as well. So let's see what we can achieve for today, for these videos. Okay. This will be money. So in terms of the monetary chapters, basically consumer math, we say that there are 4 chapters. So Form 3 has 1, which is Form 3 has 1, it's called financial management. Form 4 has 1, it's also called financial management. Okay. Let me just, yeah. So there are basically 2 financial management chapters. One is about interest, there is the Form 3 one, and the Form 4 one is about whatever financial planning is. So your cash flow with both expenses, fixed expenses, and the smart plan. Then Form 5 you have 2 chapters. One is insurance and one is taxation. So let's try to go through it in the entire video. I'll try to make it as concise as possible. I will not yap as much as usual. Okay. So first things first, interest. So in terms of interest, there are 2 types of interest: simple interest and compound interest. So let's look at some questions. Okay, let me I just realized I can do this. Give me a moment. I can. Oh, okay. Window capture. Then let me add one more. I guess I need to cop a bit more. Give me a moment. I just realized I can do this, so it makes it easier for you guys. Okay, that should do. But I think I cop a bit too much. I need to transform 500. Okay, there we go. Wait. Okay, so then let me also move this over and shrink this one. Yeah, wait, I can also move this one off the screen. Okay, there we go. Okay, so yeah, I think you can see on the screen. Okay, that's good. So let's talk about some of the questions. Okay. So let's look at this one. So if you look at Q1, it says that, let me just enlarge this. Let me see if it enlarges on the stream as well. It does. If I zoom, oh, it does. Okay, good. Great, makes sense. But I need to just stay in the middle. Just like copy in the middle. Okay, so over here you can see it says that if it tells you that, okay, so for interest you have a starting amount and you have the interest rate that you have the interest rate, and you also have the time period that you need to calculate. So usually it will ask you to calculate the amount of interest that will be given to you in that sense. Okay, so let's try and see what can happen. So over here it says that Albert borrows 20,000. So let's put this one interest. Okay, so Q1, it tells you that you start with 20,000, borrows 20,000 from bank A with simple interest 3.15 per annum for, oh, they got copped away. Move a bit. Okay, borrows per annum for 5 years. So you have 2,000 and then your and then simple interest of 3.15 per annum per year, and then for 5 years your T is 5 years. Okay, then this is part 1. Then for portion 2, you also have the same amount, so this will be your case 2, your same amount, 20,000 with simple interest of 4 per year for 5 years. So this will actually ask you to calculate the difference of interest paid. So, oh wait, I just realized I can only use half of it. Let me just calculate the first one first. To calculate interest, for simple interest, you just need to for simple interest, the amount of interest paid is fixed. What this means is that you don't have to add the interest back into your original amount, then calculate from there. That will be compounding the interest. That's why we add it back to the original amount. But for simple interest, you don't have to add it back to the original amount. So because it's simple interest, your interest in this case is just 20,000 to 20,000 multiply by 3.15%. 3.15%, you can put this in your calculator. There's a percentage button you can press, or if you don't want to, you can divide by 100 and convert this into a decimal number, which would be 0.0317. Anyway, you get this, and then since you will be you don't have to put a power on this because you don't need to compound it. Yeah, so just multiply it by this, and then multiply this by 5, and this will basically be the interest that you'll be getting. So putting this through a calculator, you should get 20,000 times 3.15%. 3.15% multiplied by 8, or multiplied by 5, you get 31250. You get 3150 for the entire period. Okay. Second case, your 20,000, if you have 4% per year instead for the same amount of years, it's basically the same idea. Your interest, you just take 20,000, your starting amount, multiply by 4%, and since the amount of interest is paid to you same per year, just multiply by 5, then times 4%. You can put 0.04 as well, that also works. Multiply by 5, you get 4,000. Therefore, the difference in interest is 4,000 minus 3150, you get RM850. Yeah? Okay. Double check. Okay lah, seems good enough. Okay, so maybe we can increase the music a bit more to 34. Okay, then continue. Okay, so next up, the next question. We can take a simple interest is simple enough, so we can take a look at compound interest. Okay, so let's look at this one. It says that this person saves 25,000 with 3.25 per annum and compounded every 3 months. What is the matured value? So for this one, you want to know a few terms. For this one, you want to know a few terms. Okay, let me just look through here. Wait. So your starting amount is 25,000, and then your interest is 3.25 per year. But in this case, you compound every 3 months. Okay, and in this, how much is the time period in this case? You want to basically find yourself. And in this case, you can see that they start at 2020. Then you want to calculate the value you get around 2028. So in this case, it will be 8 years. 8 years. Because we compound at the start of the year. You compound until the start of the year usually, and then over here you can see that it says early 2020. So over here it says early 2020 to early 2028. Okay, so in this case, since it's from the start of the year until the start of the year, we went through 8 years. So 2028 itself is not counted, but the entire 2020 is counted, so we have 8 years over here. Therefore, T is 8 years. If it's early 2020 until end of 2028, then we need to count 2028 into the mix as well. Therefore, we have 9 years in that case. But since over here it's until early 2028, the year 2028 itself is not counted entirely, so we just count the first 8 years we do. In this case, 2020 is counted as a single year. Yeah, that's right. Okay, continue. So in this case, I did not realize this. Let me not use this part then. So it's early 2020 until early 2028, so your T is 8 years. If it's early 2020 until end of 2028, then it will be 9 years. Okay, but also depending on what time it compounds, you might want to minus 1 up. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyway, if you get what I mean, you get what I mean. So compounded every 3 months. 1 year has 12 months, so you compound by 4 times per year. In terms of compound interest, your interest will be added back into the original amount, then compound, then you calculate again compound interest. Okay, and then you see it wants you to find the measured value. In this case, the measured value just means the amount of money that you get when you take out this money from the account after these many years, after this time period. So the measured value will just mean the original sum of money plus whatever interest you accrued throughout the 8 years. Okay. So in this case, your measured value you can calculate by taking your original number, multiplying by your percentage, by multiplying by 1. 1 is 100% because we are adding the interest back into the original amount, plus your percentage over here. But I put it on top because we are going to divide by a certain number. This is per annum, but we are compounding it every how many months, so we need to divide it by how many times we are compounding throughout the year. We don't calculate 3.25 every time. Then the per annum will be like 12%. Then there is a bit too much already. Yeah. So in this case, compound every 3 months means 4 times per year, because 12 divided by 3 is 4. So you divide by 4. You divide your per annum interest by 4 in this case. Then you bracket, and then this will happen throughout the time period. So since you compound 4 times every year, and then you have 8 years, 4 times 8 is 32. Therefore, you will need to put a 32 on top over here like this, because you'll be compounding this 32 times throughout the 8 years. Okay, so you just have this, calculate out. So just have this, just calculate it out. Let me just put this here. And let me just angle these numbers. Okay. So this multiplying by 1.1 plus 3.25% divided by 4 and then to the power of 32. Okay. You should be able to get, let me just double check this. 0.0325. Yep, that is correct. So you should be able to get let me write it a bit smaller. I forgot it's cropped over the screen. 32389.21. Oops, sorry. Yeah, 21. So this should be your answer lah. Okay. So that will be the difference between simple interest and compound interest. Also, you need to know what the measure value means. It just refers to the amount of money you get after going through, after everything through the time period. Okay. Next. Pay deposit and then loan interest and pay monthly installment. This one is like reverse. But I mean, for this type of question, you have your original price and then you pay deposit, so the remaining portion you will need to pay out by installment, because yeah, it's way too much money to pay lump sum unless you're that rich. So you start with this amount of money, you pay 10% deposit, so you take away the 10% deposit, then the remaining amount you divide it per month, and then for 7 years. So in this case, you need to pay 84 times for 84 months. So in this case, just calculate how much interest. Just calculate how much interest. Okay, it might seem confusing. Let's just go through it. Oops. Your starting price is 59607. You pay 10% deposit, so which means you are left with your remaining, in this case after paying the deposit, is 59670 multiplied by 90%. 59670 multiplied by 0.9, you get 53703. Okay, then since you are paying installment or per month for 7 years, you are paying 84 times. So ideally, you will need to divide it by how many times you need to pay. So in this case, your times you need to pay would be 12 months times 7 years, so you get 84 months, 84 times. Then per month remaining is this remaining number divided by 84. So you get RM 639.32. But you can see it charges we can see the bank instead charges you 784.77. So you want to calculate the loan interest. To calculate the interest, just get your new amount and divide by your original amount, because in the end it's just a percentage. So 784.77 divided 639.32, you get 1.2275. So for decimal places, you can feel like, I mean, in terms of maths, this rate is that high. 23% of interest. What? Your remaining, you're supposed to pay 600 but you're paying 700 instead. Yeah, this seems to make sense. Car loans are very high. I did not know this high though, but it might be made up, but you get the idea. It is calculated like that. So instead of paying 600 per month, this person is forced to pay 780 per month. So that would be a 23% increase, and that means that his interest is charged 23% interest. Yeah, so 22.75 to be exact. If you want to be pedantic, you can do that. So 1.2275. Therefore interest charge. Yeah, it's simple interest, so you don't have to compound it. If you want to find it from compound, it's actually quite difficult. I mean, not to say you cannot, but you need to the number will not be pretty. Yeah, it's not impossible, but it's just a bit tedious. Anyway, assuming that this is simple interest, we can calculate it like this. So the interest charge in this case is the decimal numbers at the back, and then you times 100, so you get 22.75%. This is per annum. Yeah. Okay, next. For stuff like Q4, this class already. Yeah. So for stuff like Q4, this basically just tells you whether you know how to do division per or not. So this one I suppose is fine lah. You want to calculate how many shares they own. So for Uda, since they lump sum invest 50,000 into January, then you just divide the money by price per unit, so you get how many units. So you just get the number of units. For the other person, since they invest 10,000 monthly, you want to 10,000 divided by 2.5, 10,000 divided by 2.8, then you get 5 numbers. Add the 5 numbers together, and just see how much is the difference between the amount of share units they hold. So it's basically that. Number 4 is simple enough. I would not need to talk about it. Okay, Q5. Suburb a house with 3 bedrooms with a price of 1,500 and rented each room for 180 per room. Each year she allocates 10,000 for repairs costs. After 15 years, seller decides to sell the house for 250,000. Calculate her returns on investment. This is a bit too optimistic. Obviously, if you think about it, she might be losing money in the long run, but it's fine. We look at it. We calculate out. Okay, Q5. So Sarah bought a house with 3 bedrooms with a price of 15,000. 150,000. Okay. So this is her cost. This is her cost. So it will be 150,000, and then plus her repair cost. So the second sentence says every year she allocates 10,000 for her repair cost. Therefore, it would be 10,000 times 15 years. Isn't this literally double the price of the house? Okay, so her costing in this case is this much. So it would be 300,000. Yeah, it will be 300,000. Okay. Then after 15 years, Sarah decides to sell the house for 250,000. Okay, let's get her returns. Let's get her gains. In this case, it will be credit and debit, but we don't really need to go through that. If you take account of econs, you get what I'm saying. Okay, so her returns would be 250,000, her selling price of the house, plus the rent that she gets. So when they each room for 180 per room, your rent is allocated per month. If it's per year, it's way too cheap. She is definitely losing money, so it will be per month. So 180 times 3 rooms times 12 months times 15 years. 180, to be honest, is way too little. The market price for like one single room in like a partition apartment is like at least 800 per month. It's not that cheap. You can't find rent this cheap anymore. You can probably tell that she's living in a kampong in some sense. In KL, I don't think you can even find like 600 rent. The minimum is like 800. Like, I also know some of my previous teachers, like one of them lives like literally opposite the school, and then he rented a unit for himself for like 1,000. Like, it's an entire apartment, yeah, but it's still 1,000 less. So from his pocket, so yeah. Okay, anyway, 180 times 3 times 12 times 15, she gets 97200. So add this with the selling price of the house, she gets 347200. So therefore her returns, would be your gains minus your costs. So it is straightforward, 47200. If you think about it, the ROI is not great. So like your ROI in this case, if you divide it against your return of your rate of your return of investment, your return on investment, your ROI, if you divide it by the total cost, it's 15.7%, which is not great if she could charge her, but okay lah, it kind of makes sense. Even the rent is low, so she earns less, but if you look at it, her house also does not cost that much. 150,000 is not city pricing. Next. Okay, we can look at a larger question. Oh yeah, loan tenure, monthly installment, deposit. Loan, okay, we can talk about this. This one, we see a credit card statement. Okay, well, P, I just told you lah. Yeah. What's the minimum payment? Need to be. Yeah, minimum payment is at 5% of the remaining, so it's fine. You can calculate that. It just pay 5. It says 5% here already, so just multiply 5% into a total. If the one did not make any payment, you may buy the payment in June for 2,500. Okay, the amount she needs to pay in the following month if she is charged 18% per annum on that. Just that so the remaining portion, you multiply by 18%, then you so if she doesn't make any payment in May, the money will be there, and then that amount you'll be charged 18%. So that amount you charge 18%, and then but you still have to pay it out. Yeah. So if you make a payment of 250,000 in June, you need to pay that much plus whatever 18% she has, plus the remaining portion. Yeah, because if you don't pay out the remaining, wait, yeah, so 18%, yeah, so just 250,000 plus whatever 18% you get by multiplying 80% with the original debt. Yeah, so that's that lah. Actually, it's not that hard. I'll move on. Let's see. Okay lah, we can talk about 7. How much time did I use? Half an hour. Okay, I can. Okay, so Q7. Let me move it over here. Okay, this is the space I can use. Okay. So question 7 over here says question over here says Mrs. Sandra wants to buy a car with a price of 42898. The bank offers 3 packages as follow. Which package should Mrs. Sandra choose? Give your reason. So usually we want to find the package such that she doesn't have to pay that much interest. Yeah, so she will need to pay the least. Because the original amount you need to pay no matter what, but depending on how much the interest is charged, then you need to pay that much. Okay, so let's go through this. Package A, okay. Let's split this. For package A, you start at 42898. Then you want a deposit of 10%. Your interest is 3.5% per year, and then the time period in this case is 7 years. So you need to settle this loan in 7 years, no matter what. Okay. To calculate the amount of, in this case, it's simple interest. It did not say anything about compound interest, so we assume it's simple interest. If it's compound interest, it will be quite troublesome actually. Anyway, assuming it's simple interest. Okay, assuming it's simple interest. Oh, come on. This is one too. Can you buy replacement wires? Now I need to check the center. Okay, center, good. Also move this here. Also move this here. Okay, good. Let me just check. Okay, cool. Okay, so 7 years. The amount of interest you need to pay in this case, you can calculate it out by. Actually, this is a total amount. This is a total amount. So usually you obviously want to do this in separate. Okay, so first things first, you want to calculate you want to deduct your deposit first before calculating your interest. The deposit is need to be deducted no matter what. So in this case, you have 90% left. Therefore, 42898 times 90%, 0.9, you get 38608.20. Then you divide this. So 7 years of 12 months means 84 months. So I just realized, is there an answer for this? I don't think so. No, it's fine. And just needed to make sure something is okay. So in this case, the remaining is that the annual interest is calculated per annum for 7 years. So you want to multiply. Actually, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if you multiply the interest first and you divide, or you divide then you multiply the interest. Because it's actually the same thing. So you divide. So in this case, the amount of months you need to split it into will be 7 times 12, so it will be 84 months. Okay, is MTHS. Therefore, your installment per month would be 38608.20 divided by 84. Then this one you would, the amount you need to pay per month accordingly will be 459.62. Okay, then you multiply by the amount of interest you need to pay per year, but we are not compounding interest, so in this case you don't have to divide it by 12 actually. Yeah, you don't have to divide it by 12. We are not compounding interest. Yeah. So this amount needed to be paid, so it will be this thing. Okay, wait. 3.5 per year. Wait, then I don't even need to. Wait, give me a moment. I'm actually a bit. Oops. I accidentally did everything. My interest is calculated per year. Your remaining portion, you will be calculated interest. So this would be the interest that you have to pay is your remaining portion. You multiply by 3.5%, and then we assume it's simple interest, you multiply this by 7 years. Okay. So the amount of interest you have to pay would be 38608.2 times 3.5% times 7. You have to pay a total of 9459.01 of interest. Okay, so this is the amount of interest you have to pay. So the total amount you have to pay would be your 42898 plus this interest, this amount of interest. Okay. Next, plan B. You have plan B. Your interest will definitely be higher than plan A. Yeah, so it's just that you can spend more years to get rid of it. Yeah, so plan B, I don't need to calculate out. It's basically the same calculation, just change this 7 to a 9. Okay, we go to plan C. Then C says zero deposit, loan tenure of 9 years, monthly installment of 540. So you are, in this case, you start with this much. You don't have deposit, so you need to pay first. Your time period is 9 years, and then your monthly installment is 540 no matter what. So your monthly installment in this case is 540. Okay, this is fixed already. Okay. So what we have here is your amount to be paid is basically 540 multiplied by 12 months multiplied by 9 years. So this will get you times 12 times 9. You get 58320. Okay, so we want to, and since there's no deposit, since there's no deposit, but you end up paying actually much higher in a sense. So package C will be the most expensive, because again your loan tenure is 9 years. You will have to pay for the full 9 years, so there will be that. So your amount to be paid is this much. You want to, if you can already observe that for the amount to be paid for plan C, for package C is already much higher than package A. Maybe not that much higher than package B, because package B is 9 years, but already much higher than package A. So you see the total amount to be paid, the total for plan A would be your original, so the deposit plus the original remaining and your interest. So this only gets you about 52,000. So 42898 plus 9459.1, you get 553. Wait. 4242. I press 45. 52357.10. So you can see this is already much lower than plan package C. Therefore, we choose package A because the total amount to be paid is the lowest. Okay, yeah, so you just write whatever you think is correct. Okay, so there will be Q7. Good enough. Next. Wrong cursor, wrong. Okay, which one of these are Harris makes a personal loan of 55,000 with interest 8% on debt. His loan tenure is a year with monthly repayment of 4,535 monthly. So in this case, because it's interest 8% on debt, wherever you are remaining, you'll be charged 8%. This is literally compound interest but in reverse. So to calculate this one, you want to calculate it individually because there is no fast way actually. I mean, yeah, there's no fast way. If you times, then can, if you add it up. But if it's minus, then it's a bit hard actually. I don't think you can. Anyway, yeah, so Harris makes a personal loan with 55,000. Remember, now interest 8% on that. His loan tenure a year is a monthly payment of 435. So if you look at the table, you start at 55,000. You start at 5,000, and then 8%. You could use it to calculate 8%, and then you pay this much. So your loan balance should be your payment plus whatever you pay in your interest. So you can see that's why it's 4598.33. It's not a whole number because you also have to minus out your interest. Then you repeat this for all the 12 months. Yeah. So until here, you can see that you have successfully repaid everything already. Then the balance is 0. So this is that. Then also makes this just shows you that compound interest for loans is calculated like this. You have to calculate the interest per amount, per principal per month, add it with your monthly installment, then pay it back. Yeah. This will be the case for package C up here actually, but over here it did not state there is any installment, so yeah, we don't have to talk about that. Yeah. And then part B of this question, they also place the same amount in loan tenure and service to a flat rate of 8%. So a flat rate of 8%, which is not on your debt, this would be basically question 7. Your 5,000, you would be charged at 8% of per year regardless of how much you have paid. So in this case, just take your 5%, you say your 5,000, your starting amount, multiply by 8%, and that's basically it. Yeah. So multiply by 8%, you get 4,000. So the total amount interest paid should be higher in that case. It will be higher. Wait. Let me just calculate this out. %. How did you get 33.33? Always makes a personal loan of 5,000 repayment monthly, so let me just divide by 12 first. Then 453 minus answer. The interest. Okay. The principal is 5,000 and then your payment is 435. So your interest, how do you get the interest? Wait oh, okay. You need to add it back up. I just realized, how do you even calculate out the 33.33? With interest 8% on debt. Personal loan of 5,000 with interest 8% on debt. So the principal is 5,000. Then your interest in this case is 33.33. Your payment is 345. Then so you take 5,000 to minus 435, you get 4565. Then 4565 you add back the interest. So in this case, but if I take 435 to multiply 8%, then it's not. If I take 5,000 to multiply 12, divide by 12, I get 416.66. Then, if I take my monthly deposit to minus out this number, I get 18.33. So, I'm not sure. It's easy to just Google this. I do not want to teach the wrong thing. Interest on debt. Okay, by interest rate on the principal amount of the loan. So 5,000 you multiply by 0.08. Oh. Okay. How do you get the 33% of this? After looking at it, I think I get it now. So the interest is calculated on your principal per month. So in this case, right, for January, your principal, your starting amount, which your starting amount is 5,000. You calculate the cost. The interest is basically the cost of your debt. So you take this thing, you divide by, you multiply by 8%. So this is the interest that you get. For the entire year, you get 400. Then your 400 you divide by 12 because this is for a single month. You get 33.33. So this is the cost of the debt for that month. Yeah. Then, but since you need to pay this much interest, and then you pay 435, so your 5,000 you minus your 435, and then you need to add back your interest, and that's why your loan balance is 4598.33 instead of 4565. Then for February, you carry that over as well, so your starting amount is 4598.33. You multiply by 0.08, you multiply by 8%, you will get 3687.87. It's money, so we start by two decimal places. Then the interest per month for this month is this amount, 367.87. You divide by 12, so you get 30.66. The 655 just round up to 666. Therefore, your remaining loan will be this amount, your starting amount minus your monthly payment of 435 plus whatever interest you have. So 4598.33 minus 435 plus 30.66, you will get 4193.99. Then just repeat this for all the 12 months. You should be able to get to the end where your December you should pay all of it for December itself already lah. But yes, this is the amount you have to pay. Okay, this makes sense now. I get it now. Okay, so Okay, so but yeah, this is what it is. Then oh no, is the connection bad? Okay, anyway, we continue. So okay, so let's continue finally. So next up, if it's B is a flat rate of 8%, so just take 55,000 multiplied by 8%, this is 400. So because it's a flat rate, so this is literally the total amount of interest you have to pay for the year, and that's basically it. So you want to calculate interest, just take 400 to minus out the amount of these 12 different interests added up together. It will definitely be lesser by how much I don't know. Yeah, that one you have to calculate out lah. Then lastly, it says Harris receives 2,800 monthly salary, monthly personal loan repayment in part A, and spends 1,500 monthly. You want to buy a car with a price of 25,000. He used 3,000 for car deposit and make a loan for the bank with interest 3.5 per annum for 5 years. So which means the loan is for the remaining portion, which should be 25,000 minus 3,000 is 22,000. It's been an hour, my god, okay. So yeah. So in this case, you have okay, let's pass the information by one. 2,800 monthly salary, monthly personal loan repayment, which should be 425, and also spends 1,500 monthly. So this will be his basic cash flow. So this will be his basic cash flow per month for the entire year. This is basically for the entire year. We need basic interest per month. So this will be 8,865. This is his remaining amount that he has. Okay. We don't care about the loan itself, the 5,000 loan. We just assume that he used it already. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, in this case, you want to buy a car with a price. Okay, let me just. Yep, of course. So you want to buy a car with a price of 25,000. Use 3,000 for car deposit. So the remaining portion, the remaining is 22,000. Takes a loan from the bank with interest 3.5 per annum for 5 years. So the amount that he has to pay, the amount of interest that he has to pay would be this time remaining this much, and then interest on remaining would be 22,000 times 3.5% times 5 years. Okay, so 22,000 times 3.5% times 5 years. The interest in this case is 3,850. Then he also has to make a monthly repayment anyway. So the monthly installment for new loan would be taking this, add this, so your total amount in this case is 25850, your loan plus your interest, divided by how many months you can split it into. In this case, you are splitting it into 5 years or 12 months each, so that will be 60 months throughout. And with this, your monthly installment 25850 divided by 60, you get 430.83. So in the end, the remaining monthly salary balance is this minus this. So 865 minus 430.83, you would get it to be 865 minus 430.83, you will get it to be 434.17, and this should be your answer. Okay, that should be good enough for this chapter. Basically, just calculate interest, see what the question wants, and then calculate loan, calculate interest, calculate how much interest, calculate the difference between the interest, calculate how much you have to pay for your loan, calculate how much you have to pay for your monthly installment, and then probably minus your cash flow from there. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, so that will be interest. That should be good enough lah. I know I skip over Q8, it's basically the same thing. Okay, so next, financial planning. Okay, financial planning is not really that complicated because in terms of calculation, this is the least. You just have to know how to calculate the cash flow and then probably be able to differentiate between fixed and varied these expenses. But to be honest, it's not really that important. Usually the question will just ask you to calculate cash flow and that's basically it. Yeah. Okay, financial planning. In this case, we have to talk a little bit about the smart thing. In a blue shirt, okay. Ooh. Is it in the center? A bit too big, okay. Still a bit too big. A bit smaller. A bit smaller. Move it a bit more. Okay. It is that small, huh? Okay. Margin issue. Okay, let's just go through this one. Okay, this question says Mr. Wen works as a clerk with monthly salary of 250,000. Okay. So 250,000 per month. Okay, let's just calculate the cash flow. So usually you will calculate the cash flow no matter what. Okay, so works as a clerk with monthly salary of, okay, let's read the question now. Monthly salary of 250,000, passive income of 300 per month. Monthly fixed expenses are 500 for house rental, 250, and then this one, and then as well as 700 for expenses. Explain the answer regarding his cash flow. So his cash flow, just take the monthly salary plus his variable income minus out all of his expenses, including the fixed and the variable. So this one you will get it to be, let me just quickly calculate this out. His cash flow is 1,000. So to explain it, just say something along the lines of Mr. Ryan has a total of RM22,800 of income, and his expenses in total this much. So just add them all together. 5, 2, 3, 7. Total of 1800, 1800. Therefore, his cash flow. Therefore, he has a cash flow of 1000. Okay, got it. Okay, then the question continues to ask. Okay, that's good enough. This one no need. Okay, so let's talk about this one. This one, this table isn't really matter lah. It's just more like, if your actual cash flow is the same as your plan, which is quite rare, not gonna lie. If your actual cash flow is the same as your plan, then you basically have managed your finance well. That is the general consensus. But your surplus of income is a bit too little, so it's not a very good plan, but it works and you adhere to and this person adheres to their own limits. So yeah, I mean, like, they have money savings, so I think that's fine. Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah. Okay, sister Asman. Manage financial effectively, yes. Usually, yes. Vincent, my friends buy a long wall laptop. Oops, sorry. I'm down for a bit. I'm back. Yeah, so this one is not important. Let's talk about the smart one. So the smart concept refers to specific, where you want to save. You say you want to save money. You want to be specific what purpose you want the money to save for. You want to save money to buy books. You want to save money to buy things. You want to save money to buy games. You want to save money to go for concerts, stuff like that. So you want to be specific. M is for measurable, and the easiest way to achieve this condition is to just set an amount. You want to be able to measure the amount of how much you want. A is for achievable or attainable. Both mean the same thing. A is for achievable or attainable. So this would be that this goal can be achieved. Like you can't achieve your saving money goal if you can't achieve your saving money goal if you don't have income in the first place. Yeah. So if you have income or you are given money, then usually the goal will be achievable unless the amount you set, although it's measurable, it exceeds your salary. Like it exceeds your cash flow, then obviously cannot lah. R is for realistic. So let's say you want to save like 80 per week, but if your salary is 100 per week, then it's not realistic already, because the remaining 20, where does it go? Yeah, you can't eat with that little. So no, it's not. It depends on whether it's realistic or not. Then T is a time period. So if you want to fulfill this condition, just set the time for your goals, then you'll be good enough already. So in this case, you can see for question for this question, on the top it says that Mr. Asman plans to buy a laptop worth 6,000 within the next 8 months. Then for Q1, just use this table to calculate how many months you need to save lah. So it's basically just that. monthly save. So how much you need to save based on, how much you need to save. Yeah, so this should just be you don't need the table. How much you need to save, just take 6,000 to then divide by 8 months, and that's basically it. So, and then over here at part B, part 2, it says, if Mr. Asman adopts the SMART concept, prove that Mr. Asman adheres to measure aspects M and duration T. So this is obvious. M refers to having a measurable amount. So since his financial goal has an amount he knows how much he needs to save, then there will be measurable. He also knows how long he wants to save, for 8 months, so that will also fulfill the T aspect already. And that's basically it. So in this case, we don't know whether it's achievable and realistic or not, but let's assume they are both achievable and realistic. And it's also specific in this case because he knows that he wants to save the money for what? For buying a laptop. He's specific with his goal, therefore it also fulfills the aspects. He also fulfills the S aspect. For A and R, we have to look at his financial plan, then see whether it makes sense or not. Yeah. Which suggestions how Mr. Asman can maintain a positive financial plan? This is the gap. This is whichever condition you think is correct. This is the gap. So financial plan actually doesn't really refer to like the SMART portion. The financial plan doesn't really refer to writing out all the SMART categories. No, it refers to putting out this table over here. Yeah, this is what is referred to as a financial plan. So it actually looks like this. Please don't crash. Thank you. So yeah, it actually refers to this. So you can see the flow of the financial plan. You start with how much income you have, and then you calculate your total income, and then you minus how much savings you have, and then you calculate your balance. Then you minus how much fixed expenses you have, total them up, and then you minus earns when, household installment. The fixed expenses, I mean, like it did leave out some over here. Yeah. Your housing installments, and then you can see that he isn't really making any money from his second house. 1,200 per month from rent is quite good, until you see that he needs to pay more than 90% of that to the bank because he's still under the installment. Yeah. And then for this one, just calculate out your monthly income, calculate out how much it saves, your total balance, and calculate out your fixed expenses and variable expenses. Then you just use your balance to minus out these two numbers to get your surplus or income deficit. So it's basically that. That's basically it lah. Just see the table and talk about it. There's not much over here. Okay lah, I think that's good enough. Let's rest a bit when we I'll split this into two. So this will be the first portion where I'll just put this back. Where I talk about this will be the first portion where I talk about interest and financial planning. Financial planning, interest is quite new. Interest needs to be a bit more careful because there are quite a bit of questions, quite a bit of type of questions. But for financial plan, it's not that much. Just calculate how much just like calculate how much cash flow you have. If it increases, calculate how much cash flow you have, how much money he has to pay, and then whether his financial goals follow the SMART principle or not. If he wants a financial plan, just put it out. Let me just draw this out before I end this portion. Okay. So if the question asks for a financial plan, you don't have to do the SMART categories. It's not that one. So you want to first list out your income, and then you want to list out your total savings and minus it out. Then you want to list out your fixed expenses, total them up, income, total them up, savings, total them up, you minus it, and then fixed expenses, total out, you minus it, and then varied expenses, your varied expenses, you also list them out, total them out, minus out, then you get a singular number. So it will look like this basically. So your income, total income, your savings, total savings, your fixed expenses, total fixed expenses, your variable expenses or both mean the same thing. Your variable expenses, total them up, your variable expenses, total them up, and then after that just minus all of it, and you get a balance over here. Okay, so and then variable expenses, the balance minus all your expenses, you get a total surplus. So this should be plus or minus. Yeah, if it's plus, then that means the financial plan works. At least you get to have positive income, positive cash flow. If it's minus, then that means the financial plan doesn't work. Please restructure it. And then your financial plan doesn't necessarily need to follow the SMART portion because it's not related. The one that needs to follow SMART and that you will ask whether it follows SMART or not will be the financial goals. So your financial goals needs to be specific. You have a certain target in mind. It needs to be measurable. How much money do you want to save? It needs to be achievable or attainable. It needs to be within your bounds. Like you can obtain this money from your salary or from your income. It needs to be realistic. The amount needs to be small enough in such a way. The amount needs to be small enough in such a way that you still have enough for your remaining expenses. And then you also want to set a time period for how much do you want to save. So how long you want to save such that you'll be able to achieve this goal. So there is a time aspect of this SMART framework. So that will be a financial goal setting and your financial plan. Both are different things. Financial goal is SMART, financial plan is financial plan. Just calculate your numbers as normal. Okay, so that should be good enough. Because for financial planning, you just need to calculate numbers and that should be it already. Okay, and then just explain the cash flow whenever necessary. And that's basically it. Okay, so nothing else. I will end the live stream here first. I will see you in the next one to talk about insurance and taxation. Okay, see you in the next one.